Okay, well, good morning for anybody on the West Coast. Otherwise, good afternoon. Before we jump into the class, I just want to do a quick shout out. I actually got my copy of Bloom magazine in the mail yesterday, read it cover to cover immediately. It's amazing and absolutely wonderful. And if you've been at any of my previous master classes, you might notice that my hair is different today because it is curly. And that is because I read shout out Patia's article about Black hair in corporate America. And I thought, you know what? I consider myself an ally of all people, and this is affecting a lot of women's lives. And so how can I be an ally? Well, it's to wear my own hair natural to help break down that stigma. So I just wanted to bring that up this morning. If you have curly hair naturally as well, just wear it. Who cares? Like sometimes I do feel like people think I'm less professional. And sometimes I think that about myself, but it takes all of us to come together and break down a stigma. So thank you, Patia, for that.
Thank you.
All right, so let's go ahead and dive in. Thank you all for coming. In this class, we are going to cover how to be more persuasive and influential by listening better. It sounds counterintuitive. How can you become more persuasive by just listening? But just trust me on this one. This is especially important for people who work in teams with lots of collaboration and leaning on one another, as well as parents or anybody in a romantic relationship. Okay, so for those of you who are here today, I'm guessing one of the following might be true for you. So you probably genuinely want to resolve tensions and conflict in your life. You might struggle to get people around you to cooperate or pay attention sometimes. I'm sure we all do. You collaborate or request deliverables from those around you. You may have noticed some sort of friction between yourself and someone you're close to. And maybe sometimes, no matter what you do, someone is unhappy with a situation that you were part of and they blame you for some reason. Our goals today are for you to define and master your new super tool. We're calling it empathetic listening. Be more persuasive with less actual effort. Dismantle barriers and obstacles on your teams or in your family, and achieve more ease and cooperation from others. So oftentimes when we're in a conversation with anybody, oh, thank you, Fatia. Often when we're in a conversation with anybody, we are concerned with what they're saying, right? Like that's how a conversation goes. We want to hear the other person naturally. But we tend to be more concerned with our own reactions to what they're expressing to us. We're concerned with how what they say makes us feel and how we should respond to them, right? Like we exist in ourselves, in our own bodies, as ourselves, in our own world. And eventually the baton is passed to us in the conversation, and we need to be ready to continue. We need to know what we're going to say. So I just wanted to do a quick little show of hands or drop it in the chat. Who here has ever asked somebody a question and the answer you received had absolutely nothing to do with what you asked? One of those situations where it's super apparent that the other person wasn't listening to you at all. Yeah, oh, daily. Dang. All right, well, hopefully that, Okay, so everybody, I'm glad we're all kind of on the same page here. So odds are that you yourself have done that to people many times without even realizing it. I know that I've done it before, and either immediately after I say something, I realize it, or later I realize it, and I'm like, oh my God, you asked me something totally different from what I just said to you. I'm sorry, let me back up. You know, and a lot of times we don't catch it. So essentially what we're going to do in this class is to imagine what it's like to be in the other person's head, to see the things that they see and to see the life that they have. But you might be thinking, why should we imagine ourselves as if we are the other person? How is that relevant to anything? So many of us are simply looking to be heard. We're looking to connect with other human beings on a deep level. We desire to feel belonging, to feel accepted, and to feel validated. When somebody makes us feel like we belong, we're accepted, or we're validated, it creates an instant bond of understanding and respect with that person. So we immediately let our guard down, and that human connection can grow and foster. Once we have that common ground, the connection blossoms from there as we're now able to share experiences, feelings, and opinions quickly and easily. This morphs into a feeling of some sort of tribal belonging on like a deep level within our psyche. So this is a super easy example to kind of make this point. When you're at a bar and there are two fans of the same sports team, easily, instantly become best friends. And it's because they're able to create that one connection very, very quickly, and it just morphs into something greater. So it's so much easier to recruit help or cooperation from people that like us than those that don't, right? For parents, when your teenagers are having a good day or a bad day, or maybe your toddlers or children in general, it all depends on whether they like you and feel seen or heard by you in that moment. For people that we work with and live with, keeping a good rapport is crucial in maintaining a relationship of cooperation and mutual benefits with that person. That's why we spend time with friends and family regularly, to foster that connection. These principles make complete sense in our personal lives. It makes sense that we have these deepened relationships with our friends and family. And further, it makes sense that they are more inclined to help us than complete strangers would be. And it kind of boils down to those that know that we care about them care more for us in return. These relationships are built on love, kindness, respect, empathy, compassion. But many times it appears that we live in a world where everyone lacks empathy on a large scale every day. So many disagreements, disappointments, dissatisfactions could be avoided if only there were clear and connected communication between the parties involved. Communication issues are a huge, huge problem at work, at home, in relationships with friends. Human nature, right? You probably know this. Miscommunication is going to happen. And many of these issues arise from simply not having a full understanding of what is being communicated, as there is always information that the other party is unintentionally leaving out. That's why it's so important to be a good listener, and even more so, why it's so important to approach a conversation with empathy in our tool belt. By involving empathy in our approach to communicating, problem solving, and collaborating, we open up the doors to a whole additional set of information that will help us accomplish our goal. So first, we need to all be on the same page here. Let's define empathy. So empathy is the action of understanding, being aware of, being sensitive to, and vicariously experiencing the feelings, thoughts, and experience of another. The ability to understand and feel the feelings of another as if you were that person. For my science brain people, it's the neuroscientific analysis is that both parts of the brain work together here. The emotional center can feel the emotions, and the cognitive center works to understand why someone feels that specific way. And so this is what we're focused on, why somebody feels that way. So an important distinction to make is that empathy is not sympathy. Sympathy is simply a feeling of sorrow or pity for someone else's misfortune. I'm so sorry about that, my condolences, those kinds of things. It's a little more detached. Empathy can be felt as compassion. Compassion is a sympathetic or empathetic emotional response paired with a desire to alleviate the harm or misfortune on someone and then taking action. So as a collective, we show empathy and compassion during specific times of large-scale disaster. So natural disasters such as Hurricane Sandy or Katrina, and human-made disasters such as like upheaval of daily life in Ukraine and Afghanistan that we've seen lately. What happens is we see and hear about the suffering of innocent people, and through the empathy and compassion that we feel for them, we're driven to hold fundraisers, donate money, take in refugees into our country, into our homes, this sort of stuff. So empathetic listening, what we're talking about today. This is a technique of active listening that involves asking questions to enhance the relationship with a stronger understanding of what is being communicated and why, both intellectually and emotionally. Okay, a lot of definitions. Hopefully everyone's with me. If you have any questions, please drop them in the chat. This is active listening on steroids, because not only are we making the effort to be completely present and give our undivided attention to fully digest what the other person is saying, but now we're going deeper to understand why they are saying what they're saying, how they're feeling as they say it, and why they have that perspective. So there's 4 key pieces to consider when we take this approach: to be quiet, to ask why, to uncover our own bias and privilege, and to remember it's not about us. It's not about you in this situation when you're employing empathetic listening. We're going to tackle these in reverse today. So let's switch gears a little bit for right now. One by one, it's my mission to help bring more awareness, love, and empathy into this world. So again, thank you all for being here today and being part of that mission. For anybody who might not know me yet, it's amazing to have you here. My name is Kerstie. I'm an intuitive life coach, a CPA, yogi, adventurer, and green juice enthusiast. This morning I made mostly celery juice, which was pretty good. I'm also an empath, which we'll touch on a little bit later. And I pride myself on my ability to foster cooperation, understanding, and teamwork in my own special way. This is my 3rd masterclass with Bloom. If you caught my first 2 classes, Put Yourself First and Master Your Flow, then welcome back. It's great to have you. If you missed them, head over to the Bloom platform and take them on demand. Throughout the series, this is a 6-class series that I'm doing with Bloom this year, my goal has been to guide you through how to choose what is right for you, follow your desires, and unlock the full potential of you and your greatness. Each class builds upon the last, and it was created to help you ultimately become the CEO of your own life. Being the CEO of your own life has some entrepreneurial roots. It means you behold your life as your passion project. As a CEO, you have a vision for your life and the power and drive to make it happen. You are unapologetically true to your mission, decisive and empowered. And looking back, your own success inspires you to keep moving forward, growing, and leveling up. Although the goal here is to focus on you, this is part of the benefit for everyone around you. When your default state of being is excited, motivated, and fulfilled, you're leading by example for everybody else around you to do the same thing. Every interaction you have with someone else will brighten their day. You're giving them the best gift of all: space, support, and compassion. Okay, so you're going to have to show up for yourself, right? Nobody else can exist inside your head and motivate you to make change in your life. That's all you, boo. Through this journey, you'll strengthen your independence and deepen trust in your intuition. On the topic of intuition, personally, this is why I call myself an intuitive life coach and what I teach people how to do. I allow my intuition to guide me throughout my journey of life. I believe it will never steer me wrong, and it hasn't yet. In January, I was intuitively led to move out of my apartment, purge a ton of my material possessions, and travel around the country staying in Airbnbs. I visited Idaho, Utah, Maryland, New York, North Carolina, Louisiana, a few spots around Southern California. And 2 weeks ago, I settled down here in Southern California, where I was before I left. And I'm excited to say that today I'm coming to you from my actual apartment. So no more Airbnbs for me. I'm excited to be settled. And all that happened over tax season. But as a CPA, I don't do taxes. I tried that and I couldn't do it. They say it takes a special person to be an accountant, but it takes an extra special person to do people's taxes. So be nice to your CPAs. The majority of my work as a CPA has been a financial statement auditor. If you're not familiar with auditors, they're the people who make like random requests for old case notes, old invoices, and they question things that may have been particularly complicated in past years. Most of the time, people don't like auditors because they create extra work and ask tough questions. In the beginning of my career, it was really difficult to get people to cooperate, to go out of their way to help me, or even respond to my emails because it was just additional work for them. I realized quickly that I needed to employ the power of empathy and take a genuine approach to my job, not just as a doer, but as a teammate, a friend, and a fellow human with my clients. I learned really early on in my young adulthood about the power of using empathy in a conversation. When I was a senior in high school, my father had a terrible motorcycle accident that left him with a traumatic brain injury. He had to learn how to talk again and how to express his thoughts. Whew, actually got a little emotional when I said that. There were many, many times when my father was unable to find the words to express himself, and he quickly became frustrated. I noticed in public, people generally had absolutely no clue what was going on for him in his head, and they simply watched him struggle as he was trying to communicate. There was no attempt from the other party to help him figure out what he was trying to say. Now, if he were a young child, the adults would have tried to use context clues to fill in the gaps and help him develop his thoughts into proper sentences. But for some reason, adults have a difficult time expressing empathy and compassion for other adults that are not communicating clearly. These experiences over many years began to make it more and more apparent of the immense power that empathy has in a situation. Most people approach conversations and experiences only knowing what is in their own head and not considering the perspective of the other person. After this class, you are officially no longer one of those people. When empathetic listening is employed, the listener makes the speaker feel more comfortable. So the speaker feels heard and will then be more willing to help the listener accomplish their goal. In that situation, you're the listener. So part A, it's not about you. The first step to empathetic listening is to wholly and completely realize that this practice is not about you. It has nothing to do with you and completely focuses on the other person, which is contrary to my first masterclass, Put Yourself First. But we're talking about a very specific container right here. It doesn't matter how you feel, what you think, what you know, or who you are when you're practicing listening with empathy. Of course, we don't want to forget our goal of the conversation, right? You don't want to get lost. When we need to collaborate with someone, we're typically looking to establish whether they're paying full attention to us, if they're able to effectively help us, they have the actual thing or the skill that we need, how they can most effectively help us, what they need from us, information or otherwise to complete the task, right? Hopefully this is sounding familiar to you guys. What barriers are standing in the way of them helping us? Any time constraints, misunderstandings, personal objections, how we can help them help us by providing more information or identifying any support we can offer. Ooh, okay. Patia just put in the chat, my eldest son stutters and I find other children have more patience with him than adults. It saddens me to see him struggle to speak and people's impatience with him. Sometimes other kids will walk away before he can get his thought out. I can see how that hurts his self-esteem. Yeah. Oof. That's tough. Yeah. We live in a world where people it's not on our minds to be empathetic towards other human beings. So for the parents, hopefully you can take something away from this class and employ empathy in your kids, teach them how it can work for them. My heart goes out to you. Okay, let me jump back in here. So all of the things that I just listed, all of these goals and objectives that we have in conversations with people that we're collaborating with, it's totally valid and we need to keep that in mind. However, empathetic listening requires you to set aside your goals and objectives and connect with the human. By doing this, we create a fast lane to cooperation. We need to actually put ourselves in their shoes so we can understand what is going on in their brain, connect with them as humans, and help them create a desire to help us in return. When it comes to colleagues, we'll want to try to understand what their home life might be like, their morning commute, their last phone call, their plans for the evening. All of this sets the stage for what they bring to a conversation with you. When it comes to our children or other friends, we have to try to envision what it's like to spend a single day in their life, knowing what they know, having the perspective that you know and imagine them to have. There are so many possibilities in life, but often our subconscious minds assume that we know exactly what is happening in that other person's life, and then we assume that to be fact and truth. and we kind of latch onto it. Odds are that we have no clue what is actually going on for the other person, right? In Petit's example with her son, a lot of people probably don't understand that he actually has something that he's trying to work through. In my example with my father, it was not on people's top of minds that he might have had a brain injury. Frequently, that leads to the misunderstandings and miscommunications between two parties, right? It's that assumption piece that we know and understand that they should be able to communicate with us exactly what we need from them. But on assumptions and expectations, we're going to dive deeper into that in our September masterclass. So stay tuned. So we're going to complete an exercise right now on perspectives, assumptions, and bias. There's no need to take notes. Just let your mind wander for a second. If you can think back to your first day of a new school year, a new class schedule, new flow to your day, new teachers, new classmates, way back in time, right? What were the things that you were worried about? Or maybe think about your kids or your grandkids. What are they worried about on the first day of a new year at school? Maybe they're worried about getting lost, trying to navigate this whole new schedule. Maybe they're worried about looking cool in their new clothes to their friends and the popular kids. Maybe they're worried about whether their friends or crushes had any classes with them. Anybody else have any other examples that are coming up? Go ahead and drop them in the chat. I want to make a point of them. Anything that you or your kids are worried about in school, making friends, totally. Okay, so we're going to watch a quick video about a group of students who are talking about how they felt that morning on the first day of school. So keep in mind, what would you imagine them talking about? And what would you imagine them feeling? How would they sound? They're probably thinking and talking about how nervous they were, how cool other people looked, and laughing at themselves, squealing with excitement and energy, right? So let's see what's actually going on. Share my screen. Sound. Okay. All right.
Miss G, can I read something from my diary?
That'd be great.
Who's he?
Man, he's been with us since freshman year, fool.
What's his name?
I don't know.
The summer was the worst summer in my short 14 years of life. It all started with a phone call. My mother was crying and begging, asking for more time, as if she were gasping for her last breath of air. She held me as tight as she could and cried. Her tears hit my shirt like bullets and told me we were being evicted. She kept apologizing to me. I thought I have no home. I should have asked for something less expensive at Christmas. On the morning of the eviction, a hard knock on the door woke me up. The sheriff was there to do his job. I looked up at the sky, waiting for something to happen. My mother has no family to lean on, no money coming in. Why bother coming to school or getting good grades if I'm homeless? The bus stops in front of the school. I feel like throwing up. I'm wearing clothes from last year, some old shoes and no new haircut. I kept thinking I'd get laughed at. Instead, I'm greeted by a couple of friends who were in my English class last year. And it hits me, Mrs. Gerwell, my crazy English teacher from last year, is the only person that made me think of hope. Talking with friends about last year's English and our trips, I began to feel better. I received my schedule and the first teacher is Mrs. Gerwell in room 203. I walk into the room and feel as though all the problems in life are not so important anymore. I am home.
Yes, you are.
Okay. Madi, can you bring us back out of the share screen?
Hold on. We're looking for the stop share. Let me see if I can. Okay, did you get a pop-up screen?
Yeah. Oh, there it is.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, I think I found where the button is.
Perfect.
I have 3 screens. So
Yeah,
it goes over to the 3rd screen.
perfect. Sorry
Okay.
about that.
No, that's okay. Thank you. Okay, so we're all back. So that video is kind of heavy, right? Can anybody relate to this? Or does anybody have anything they want to share, how they feel about the young man or the video?
I think most significant was in the very beginning when they didn't know who he was and he had been in their classroom for years. I think they said yeah. So
Yeah.
that really set the tone for that. Nobody paid attention to him and nobody was listening or looking or recognizing him.
For sure.
It's also the theme of what you're saying. You never know what someone is going through.
Yeah, right. Like they probably did not expect to hear that at all. I'm sure even the first time I watched the video, I was like, wow, didn't expect this. Yeah. Okay. So this brings us into part B, uncovering our own bias and privilege. Humans are really, really great at judging a book by its cover. It's something that we do instinctually and before we're even aware of it, because once long ago, it was one of our first defenses to survival. But now in 2022, life has become so incredibly overly complex compared to pre-civilization human life that this judgment is no longer a simple, is this creature going to kill me? Yes or no. These days, we create judgments, assumptions, and expectations regarding whether we're aesthetically pleased by another person, whether they are of higher, lower, or the same social status as us, whether we think they're overall good or bad, what their age or what we think their age is going to give them the capacity to understand us, how we expect them to speak and to think, and so on. Our subconscious brains process all of this assumed information before we even have the chance to realize it. The only way to mitigate this effect is to be aware of ourselves, of our preferences, our tendencies, our bias, and our privilege. Most of us live in areas where people generally look like us, think like us, earn a living and spend like us, or so we think. That is naturally what we tend to do in society. We enjoy the company of others who feel familiar or familial. It's cultural, and on a basic instinctual level, it's somewhat tribal. This is why it's so important to seek out people that are different from you at work, in social settings, and in entertainment. Doing this allows the opportunity to see and hear a different perspective, which can keep us thinking of and reminded of all of the possible realities, and opens our capacity to empathize with other human beings or individuals. As children, we're often reminded to eat the food we're given because there are people who don't get food to eat, or to be thankful for our clothing, even if it wasn't the styles or brands we wanted it to be. I'm sure so many other things, right? As adults, we don't get these reminders nearly as frequently. The reminders we do get the most are to remember what we don't have, to desire something that somebody else has, and to not trust people that we don't know or we're not close to. It's super easy to forget to be grateful. It's super easy to forget that there is always someone having a tougher day than we are. And it's super easy to forget that most people are actually good people and really want to do good things. Most people are kind, caring, and generally want to spread positivity with good intention. So when's the last time you saw someone who looked kind of bummed? Whether they were tired or they looked like they had a rough day, what did you say to them? Maybe you shared some words of positivity, like it's a gorgeous day today. Maybe you tried to distract them to get their mind off things. Hey, did you see the award show last night? Did you see the boss's email about taking some extra time off this weekend? Keep your chin up. It's almost Friday. Sometimes these words of encouragement can really turn someone's day around. So let's see what happens here when some friends are trying to not get distracted from their goal. Got another quick video. Okay, here we go.
Oh, the stuffed animal Hall of Fame! My rocket! Wait, Riley and I were still using that rocket. It still has some song power left. Who's your friend who likes to play? No! No, you can't take my rocket to the dump! Riley and I are going to the moon! Riley can't be done with me.
Hey, it's gonna be okay. We can fix this. We just need to get back to headquarters. Which way to the train station?
I had a whole trip planned for us.
Hey, who's ticklish, huh? Here comes the tickle monster. Hey, Bing Bong, look at this. Oh, here's a fun game. You point to the train station and we all go there. Won't that be fun? Come on, let's go to the train station.
I'm sorry they took your rocket. They took something that you loved. It's gone. Forever.
Sadness. Don't make him feel worse.
Sorry.
It's all I had left of Riley.
I bet you and Riley had great adventures.
Oh, they were wonderful. Once we flew back in time. We had breakfast twice that day.
Sadness.
It sounds amazing. I bet Riley liked it.
Oh, she did. We were best friends.
Yeah, it's sad.
I'm okay now. Come on. The train station is this way.
How did you do that?
I don't know. He was sad, so I listened to what...
Hey! There's the train!
Okay. Oh, I got it. All right, we're back. So that was a cute little video, right? How many people have tried the distraction technique and it didn't work? Like in this video, it didn't work to simply distract their friend. They needed to acknowledge the feelings that were being processed before they could even create that space to be able to move forward and get what they needed to get, which was the train station. Anything coming up for anybody that they wanted to share? I'll give you a second to maybe drop it in the chat or turn on your mic. Okay. All right, keep moving on. It's so easy to want to breeze past whatever struggle someone else might be having so that we can get what we want, both at work and with our kids. It's not always something we consider, right? To get an understanding of the other person's emotions or experience at that time, to let them feel whatever they're feeling so that it filters out of their brain. This leads us into part C. Dig deeper. Ask why. We must ask ourselves why. I'm not talking about the why me perspective that we start to kind of think sometimes when things get in our way or we experience a lack of cooperation. This is the mental state we need to avoid, this why me state. Because remember, it's not about you when we're practicing empathy. We need to ask why the other person might be feeling, thinking, perceiving and doing what they're doing. What might be going on for this person that they're giving me an attitude today? Why could it be something that's so simple to me is so foreign to somebody else? Why hasn't this person responded to my email? What random things could be going on in their life that I have no clue about? Reminder, everybody is living in their own world. The way someone presents themselves to you or reacts to something you say has almost nothing to do with you. And I think this is one of the most important points to get out of today. The things that other people do that harm you or annoy you or bother you likely have nothing to do with you. It's so wild to think about that they're existing in their own head. Our reactions, emotions, and thoughts have everything to do with our own perspectives, biases, and tendencies. Like I said at the beginning, this is natural, right? Because we only exist in our own human experience. Many of us are not concerned with other people's perspectives because we simply don't consider the possibilities for them. We only see what we choose to see. So remember that as we head into this final video, we only see what we choose to see.
Kid, every time I'm pulling out, he's right there. Man, someone needs to talk to his parents, if they're ever at home. What is up with the traffic today? It's always, every day, this intersection's always crowded. I hate pulling out of here. I need some of these dumb roads. Oh, there's... Okay, so I'm not even here. Right. Great lady. The princess of parking. Oh, sure. Take the spot. Way to be considerate. Oh, you kidding me? Unbelievable. Oh.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a great day.
It's about time. Let's see, what do I want?
Yeah, could I add a cookie to that order? Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, no problem, only guy in the world. I'm sure you need your cookie. The world, your oyster, and he's serving your cookie.
Thanks, sir. Thank you so much. What can I get for you?
Yeah, I'll have a tall decaf macchiato.
Yeah, sure, no problem. $3.85. And it might take a few minutes here. We've got quite a line, obviously, and thanks for your patience.
Great. Yeah, great. Great for me. Winning again. Unbelievable. What? What is... What is that? What in the world? Oh, what am I supposed to do? How can I do anything about that? Can I even help with that? I don't...
Your coffee, sir.
Oh. I can't take this anymore. I gotta get out of here.
Hey, watch it.
Sorry, so sorry.
Hey, buddy, come here.
Okay. So if anybody has any thoughts or reactions to that video, go ahead and drop them in the chat. It is actually one of my favorite videos that I've ever seen, and it makes the point very clearly that we really never know what someone else is going through. And yeah, I can send the link. Cool. Okay. Hopefully this one works. Yeah. It's definitely moving. Yeah, at the beginning of this video, you never know what people are going through. To be kind. Yeah, for sure. At the beginning of this video, the man chose to see everything as a misfortune to him. He chose to see it all at his expense, thinking, why me? Why me? And so when we approach other people and see them be able to feel what they're going through, exactly, Cynthia, when we approach them to consider what they're possibly going through, and we have that empathy and hold space for them to be able to have their own human experience outside of our expectations, it just opens the space for so much more to happen because we can connect at that human level. I'm so glad that everybody had strong reactions to that. The video reminds us that we can choose to see things differently. We can choose to have a more empathetic view of the world. That brings us to part D, be quiet. Taking an empathetic approach to human interaction requires a lot more being quiet on your end. Unfortunately, some people get overwhelmed like this guy did, and for that, avoid the whole thing. And he just ran away. Yeah. It can be shocking for people to have this realization, right? That other people are going through so much stuff that is outside of your own head and your own expectations, for sure. This is why it's so important that we teach our children these things, that they grow up bringing these skills into adulthood and can teach others around them. And so, like I said, it requires a lot more being quiet on your end, more observing, less thinking, more listening, less talking, more questioning, less reacting. We must allow the other person's space to feel heard, validated, and expressed, so that whatever perspective they are bringing to the conversation is first acknowledged and understood. Creates that base understanding. Only then are you able to discern how to most effectively communicate with that person. So that kind of wraps up our lesson on that, but I wanted to point on one last thing. Go ahead and drop it in the chat. Does anybody here consider themselves an empath? An empath is someone who has the intuitive ability to feel, know, pick up on the emotions and energetic levels of other people. Yeah, okay, so there's a couple people here. So you all probably do a lot of what we discussed naturally, but there's always opportunity for improvement, right? Even for me, this is something that I've been practicing for a long time, and I still recognize areas of improvement, and it's actually exciting. It is exhausting. So yeah, I want to talk about that quickly. So for all of you, my dears, it's important for you to remember not to take this too far, right? We empaths have the tendency to make the world's problems our problems. And so it's important for us to protect ourselves, our emotions, and our energy. If we're employing empathetic listening all the live long day, we can start to get lost and take on other people's funky vibes and get bogged down by that. So for all of you empaths, pay attention to how you're feeling a few hours after you have these conversations where you're consciously going into a conversation trying to practice empathy. If you're feeling low, you're feeling drained, or you have trouble focusing, it's important to remember to put yourself first and respect your flow. Those were my first 2 masterclasses. So go take them if you haven't. And remember to recognize that what you're feeling, so you know that it's time to reset yourself. And if you need help with this, like I said, go check out my other masterclasses. Simply taking a walk or sitting outside can do wonders to cleanse your emotional state. Writing, like journaling about something you've learned, experienced, or felt can help you get that energy out of your body. Do something for you so that you can keep operating effectively in your world. And that goes for everybody, not just the empaths. Just because this practice is about other people doesn't mean that you are any less important. Remember to hold space for yourself because your experience and emotions are just as valid. And what I find is when you approach conversations with this sort of empathy and you create space for the other person, they usually reciprocate. So I hope you leave this class today with a clear understanding of the difference that pairing empathy with active listening, or empathetic listening, has the power to accomplish in your life. My wish is that you gain a few more friends and maybe even negotiate a few deals for world peace. No big deal. If you can simply remember these 4 key pieces, you're well on your way to dismantling barriers and building bridges to cooperation. Be quiet, ask why, uncover your own bias and privilege, and remember it's not about you in that moment. So thank you all for coming. I love to see everyone here and involved, and thank you for everyone who participated in the chat. The next class is going to be all about granting yourself permission on July 20th. So I'm dropping the link in the chat to sign up. And if you're ever interested in working on any of these topics more, I work with clients one-on-one to work through each of these whole theories and principles and practices. So I'm going to drop my website in the chat as well.